Hi friends, I'm Jess and welcome to the Hex Library where I post reading, writing, book, and planner related content. Today is going to be my reading journal for 2026. I did do a plan with me for this, so if you would like to see a lot of the setups and how I did them, I will link that down below. That was on a live stream that I did 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's been a minute. I've been continuing to work on getting extra things in here and waiting on some other readathons and things to come out so I could get all of the content in here. And if you were here for that, you know that this book has already been attacked by my cat Raja, so there's some nice deep gouges in it already. This journal is from Archer and Olive. I do know that they still have some of this design, but I don't know if they still have this size of this design left. So that's a question for you and Archer and Olive, but if you're interested, it does exist in some form or another. So let's hop into it, eh? First thing is this is my card for the year of my daily reading challenge. Basically, this is a printout from Planning with Kay, as a lot of things in this book are, and it just has the months of the year listed at the top and then the days of the months. And then I black out the months that I don't, or the days I don't need. And then I will go through and color in all of the days that I've been reading. This year has been a reading slump year, so this year's doesn't look as nice, but if I can find it, I will show it to you. This is what my 2025 one looks like. And so I've been coloring in the days, and then anytime I finish a book on a day, I put a black dot on it. And sometimes you can see I finished 2 books in a day. This is what it starts out like. This is what it will end like, hopefully with more days colored in than this one, but I digress. I also didn't decorate the back of the one last year. So this year I decorated the back. And this will just act as an extra bookmark in the planner, which is why I like to keep it like this. And I usually keep them in whatever month I'm on. And then this is just my collage of the year. I tend to put in just beautiful scenery that I like. All of these are from Pinterest. I will link the Pinterest board down below for you if you are interested. Pretty much most of my book related things come from Sarah J. Maas stuff because that is what is most readily available on the internet. So I have a picture of Bryce and Danica. We have Light It Up. We have Lahaba's quote, "My friends are with me and I am not afraid." We have Carl and Princess Donut from Dungeon Crawler Carl. We have a quote from Adam and Mercy from the Mercy Thompson series. It says, "I thought you were dead. Stupid, as if I'd die without taking you with me." We have Mercy. This is a cover of one of the books, just without the title and things on it. And then everything else is just pretties. Late Night Reading Club. I'm literally just a girl who loves to read. God forbid women have hobbies. Books are my portal to other realms. Just pretties to set the vibe. We then have more pretties to set the vibe because I printed out too many for both books. So, because I do this both in my reading journal and my planner, and I had more pictures. This one, blow me, thought it was funny, had to have. This one is "Hearts are wild creatures. That's why our ribs are cages." Love it. We started this year off with a table of contents. Was this a good decision? I don't know. Because then I decided that I needed to number all of the pages, obviously, because if we're doing yearly pages, we need to number the pages. But then my pages are all decorated. So then I had to go and print out stickers, numbers to put on the pages. And so now, because I'm putting them all in the same spot, the pages are getting really thick in that spot. So, maybe a good decision. Maybe not. We will find that out as the year goes on. All of these stickers, the writing, and these little people, these are all from Journal Say. These are from Planning with Kay. I did mess with the colorization of these a little bit so that they match the stickers or the tapes that I'm using more better, which we'll see, like this one here. These. So these are from Archer and Olive. These were part of the release along with this bookshelf planner. So I matched the colors didn't really match, but I more colored this set of plants and pages from Planning with Kay to fit the vibe. But this World Washi is also from Journal Say. think that's it. Pretty much if you see it, it's either from Planning with Kay, Journal Say, or I made it myself. Okie dokie. Rating system. We are going back to a actual weighted weighting system this year. Sure. If you were here last year, you may know that I was on a major reading slump for the beginning of the year. And I really just decided to forego my rating scale and just rate everything based off of vibes. By the end of the year, I was like, oh no, I need my rating scale back. I have thoughts and opinions, and I can't do this just off of vibes anymore. But I wanted to make the whole year so that I know that 2025, the entire year, was just vibrating. So it was vibrating. Oh, God. Anyway, so I have my what each score means, how I'm going to, what things end up at, what parts I rate, because I rate differently for YA and adults versus mid grade versus comic and graphic novels. Because I think those all kind of have different things that are important to them to be a decent book. My favorite book of 2026. This is a decision matrix. I used this for 2024 to pick out my favorite book and 2025. If I had 2024's book at the ready, I would show you the example, but I cannot. This decision matrix comes from Jessie Curran, and I'm sure she has a video on it. So if I can find that, I'll link that down below. We then have the reading log. As always, I just do the title, the author, and the rating. I have a spreadsheet that I keep more detailed things for stats, but in the journal, I just want title, author, rating. And these are my little half pages so that I have plenty of space to get everything in, but I only have to decorate the one time. We then have my DNF graveyard, of course. I was having problems with these stickers during the live show, and I ended up scrapping what I had and had to reprint them. Oh, and as you can see, my little numbers down here at the bottom. But I made it a graveyard scene, and whenever I DNF a book, I'm just going to print out a copy of the book, and it's going to end up in here. And the graveyard, I've kind of played with the idea of putting them on headstones and putting them in there. So we'll see what actually happens when the time comes. But I then have a start of the year physical TBR. So much like last year, when I do my shelf audit on January 1, this is typically, we'll have a live show for that actually. I don't know if I'm going to do it New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, probably a combo of the two. But at the beginning of the year, I always do a shelf audit, both for read books and unread books, to make sure that everything is in all of the spreadsheets that it needs to be in, and everything is in here that it needs to be in, because I buy so many books and read so many books that some of them fall through the cracks. So I like to do an audit at the end of the year and just start off fresh. Once I've done the audit, I will write in the title of every book that I own that is unread on my shelves. And as I read them during the year, I will color the book in. Hopefully, at the end of 2026, let me find the one from this year. So hopefully next year's will look better than this one, because I really have not read a lot from my start of year physical TBR shelf, but this is what it looked like. And I have read a few of them. So at the end of the year, hopefully it's looking better than this one, but that's an example of what it can look like. And then the next page is my purchases for the year. Again, I will put in the month and then write in all of the books that I buy each month. And then as I read them, I will fill them in. The one for 2025 actually looks really good. And you can see I would highlight the month with a color and then write the books in and then just gray them out as I read them. And as you can see, I've read almost all of them. So not too bad on that one. Next page. You then have a spot for pre-orders, a title, author, date, and a check mark if it has arrived or not. This is my shelf trophies to buy. So if there is a book that I've read and I've enjoyed that I don't own a physical copy of, that I want to buy a copy of, I write it in the title, the author, and then I put location in here, mostly because I put in an extra space and I didn't realize that I put in an extra space until I'd already done it. But I guess if I want like a special edition of a book, I can write in the special edition and then check mark it as I buy them. We then have anticipated releases for the year. So we have a box for each month. We'll just put in the book and what date it comes out. Very simple. We then have my ARC TBR. I only had this page and this page of an ARC TBR. And then I realized that the ARCs that I'm carrying over into 2026 will almost completely fill these two pages. So I cut this out and taped it in so that I could have space to put in this year's ARCs. I'm a mess, y'all. I am a mess. We're just going to move on from that. Okay. We then have a spot for friend recommendations. So, title, author, and the friend that recommended it. I just like to have this because sometimes people recommend me books and I like to know who recommended it. Series to finish. I haven't fully decided what I'm going to put in here. I do have a spreadsheet series tracker, but I do want to highlight book series that I plan to finish this year. There are a few that I'm rereading. Off the top of my head, I can think of 3 series that I'm rereading to read the final book. Actually, 4. 1, 2, 3. No, 3. That I need to read previous releases to read the newest release. So those will go in here. And then if there are other series that I want to finish this year, or the last book is coming out this year, what have you, those will go in here and it'll just be the title and then some form of separation of which book to mark them off as I have read them. Guess what's coming back, my friends? The TBR Takedown is making its return. If you've been here, you know that in like 2018, my first year on YouTube was 2017, 2019. I think it was 2019 when I started the first TBR takedown because I had 284. How can I remember that? It's a big number. Unread books on my shelves. And I wanted to get down to 50. And we've never made it to 50, but we've gotten to manageable numbers in the past. And I would like it to be a little more manageable. I went from 3 shelves on my bookcase to 4 shelves, and now it is 4 shelves double stacked. So we need to get a handle on that. Basically, the TBR Takedown is just this game I've been playing for many, many years on my channel, where I basically keep track of the books I read during the month that are on my physical TBR shelf, if I unhauled any books that I hauled, and then the total at the end of each month. And we try to make the number go down. Like that's the goal, you know? I have a bad habit of either not counting a book or double counting a book based off of where I keep track of it because I keep track both in the journal and also on spreadsheets. So for this one specifically, I made it its own page that everything will be tracked on here. What I read, what I unhauled, what I hauled for this specifically will all be right here. So I will know what I have exactly. I didn't feel like I actually needed to have the list of all of those things because they're going to exist in other places. So I didn't need them to be visible or pretty. Like it's just going to be like a chicken scratch list. So I made a pretty to go over it so that we don't have to worry about it. This year's game, my friends, is the Hexed Hexagon. For the past few years, you know I have been playing Bingo Board from Hell that was created by Win at Literary Diversions. And I have loved playing Bingo Board from Hell. And I might end up putting Bingo Board from Hell in here because the graphics are cute when you're stabbing me in the heart. But 9 goals was a lot. And I was like, I would love to do something similar, but with less goals. And I was like, let's do 6. You know what 6 is? 6 is a hexagon. I am the hex library. Let's make a hex hexagon. Obviously, I will share in the description box if you're interested in joining me in the hex hexagon land, a blank copy of this. If you want to join in and make your own challenges, you're welcome to. But basically, I have 6 goals. They are to read 25 2026 releases, 25 pre-2023 purchases, which is about all that I have left. This was also my goal for this year, and I've probably read 5 of them. 10 finished series, so to finish 10 series this year. To read 25 purchases from 23 to 25. So 2023, 2024, 2025, those purchases all count to that. 25 backlist arcs, because yes, I have a poop ton of backlist arcs to get to. And then 10 rereads. A lot of those are going to happen in the series that I'm rereading, but 10 rereads. I made a chart for these to keep track of them. So normally, like when I do graphics for videos, these little circles will have the number that I'm at for them. But on here, I changed them to a letter to correspond to my chart so I can keep track of how many I have each month. And then because I notoriously get confused, I also made a space to write in each book that covers each prompt. That way, I don't have to worry about wondering if I've counted a book or not. It's all in here for me to look at very easily. The Hex Hexagon, again, there'll be links down below if you want to hang out and do the Hex Hexagon with me. I'm excited. I may still do bingo board from hell, but I think if I do, I will make the 3 extra prompts self-care prompts. That's probably where like 6 would just be these, which makes no sense as to why I would do it, but I just wanna do it because the graphics are pretty, okay? Okay. Then we have my book club, my local indie bookstore's book club, which is Wheatberry, and I made a space to put in each of the books that we read. We do January through November, we don't do a book in December, which makes a great spot for a pretty little sticker, but a space to write in the book and then just write a little bit about it. That's that. We then have a spot for 26 in 2026. This one is from our friend Brie at Four Paws and a Book. And I did change the coloration in these a little bit. These are her graphics, but I did finagle with the colors a little bit to make them a little lighter so they didn't use as much ink when I printed them out. But they are Bree's graphics just with a little bit of color change. So the point of 26 and 2026, and I will link Bree's channel down below if you would like to check out the full video that she did on these. But essentially to do 4 separate goals, which are 8, 7, 6, 5, to get you to 26 books to read in 2026. So for 5, I need to read 5 books from the Witchland series. There are 6 books in this series, but I already read Truth Witch this year. I just need to read the next 4 books, reread the next 4, and then read the new book because I wanted to reread those before I got to the new one. But again, reading slump year, things didn't happen. 6, I put in big books. These are books over 500 pages. I have quite a few that I need to get to, so let's push that goal. 7 books with a sci-fi setting. I don't read a lot of sci-fi, but what I do read, I do tend to like. I like more Earth-based science fiction versus space-based science fiction, but I am interested in reading a little bit of everything. So I gave myself a goal of reading 7 of them. The first, speaking of space-based sci-fi, will be Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, because that is our book club book for Wheatberry in January. And then the last, which is 8 spaces, is to read 8 books by my friends. I don't know if you know this, but I have a lot of friends who are writers, and I have so many books that I am behind on. I have kind of a plan for what I want to read for these, whose books I plan to read for these. But yes, I have many of those that I need to get to. So I made myself a goal to read those. Over on Jan Agaton's Patreon, she does Coffin Covers Challenge. Naturally, I needed to have that in my life. This is the graphic that she shared for that. And then I went ahead and made it smaller so that I could get both of them on the same page. And then put a block that was the same color as the background on them to cover them up so that I could then write in the title of the books that I am reading for that. We also have Mystery Thriller Bingo by Alexis Fully Booked. Again, I recolored these just so that I could have a more printer-friendly version, but these are her graphics. They're just a more printer-friendly version of them. This is the bingo board that she created, and then I made a little blank one. I think originally I had planned to like put the cover photos in there, but those are so small that that's probably not happening. It probably will just be me writing it out. Either or, there'll be itty bitty teeny tiny covers in there, or I will be writing them out one way or the other. All of these creators will be linked down below. Next, we have the Year of Goober. This is from Jesse Curran and Monica at Bibliophile by Night. I will link the announcement video for this down below as well. It is essentially a year-long reading challenge where each month you get 2 prompts. They both represent a baked good this year because we're doing a bakery style, but you pick which prompt you want to do, and then that will give you whatever kind of baked good you end up with, and then you can put the baked good on your shelf in the bakery or the book cover or however you want to do it. You can use this. There are lots of different graphics that you can use, and this is just what I chose to print out. Also, look at the little ghosty with his cookies. And also, as always, buzzword reading challenge, buzzword book cover challenge, whatever you want to call it, by Kayla at Books and Lala. There are 2 challenges. Reading challenge is title based, and then the book cover challenge is book cover challenge based. But you can do one or the other or both or however you want to. You can read each book in the month of the year. You can read them all at one time. You can read multiple books with each one for each month, however you want to do it, but just kind of a fun thing to follow along with. Sometimes I just like at the end of the year to find out if I actually did well without trying. That's always fun. See, it's printed out and it's in here, so there's that. We then have the first crossover of year-long reading challenges into Readathon territory. This is actually, I believe, the last thing that is set up in this book. This is TBRthon that is created by our friend Leandra at Leandra the TBR Zero. And again, I will link announcement video down below. This is the Map of Stories version, and I am going to take the year-long approach to this. Basically, there will be a readathon every month at the first weekend of every month. And I will be traveling to all of these different places on the map, to which there are 3 prompts for each location, and you can either read them, you can either read 1, you can read all 3, you can read 2, you can read them with the genre topic of that month, you can read them in order, out of order, however you want to do it. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it yet. I think I would like to try to hit at least 1 prompt every month, but we'll kind of see how the year goes. But there are a bunch of badges that you can get for this, so I did leave this page open to do just whatever badges I earn. I'll put those on here, and then in here I can write in whichever books I read for whichever of the challenges. And then, as I said, I do believe that that is the last thing in here so far. Let's go back and do a flip through, shall we? All kinds of links for you down below for different graphics, videos, reading challenges, etc., etc. There's tons and tons of information for you down below. I had a really fun time doing this. I took a very leisurely stroll through it. I think it probably ended up being about 3 weeks worth that I would just sit here in the evening and work on these. So these do take time to really put together. Sometimes more time than others. I don't typically spend this much time on like a monthly, but I had a lot of challenges and things that I wanted to get in here. And I wanted to try to stick to one somewhat sort of theme. I think I did an okay job tying all of the colors together, even though, like, this blue girl, clearly she's not really within the vibe, but we're allowing it. Trying to get the stickers that fit. I have some random cat stickers with books that weren't really a part of the vibe, but I needed something small to fill in the space. This girl is not the vibe, but nor is her background color, but it's fine. This is not the vibe, but this is the vibe of my channel and it was made for my channel. So, we're just rolling with it. It's totally fine. And, it's all about having fun, right? We're all having a good time. If you have a video on your channel of your reading journal, or if you have it on your Instagram or what have you, leave me information about how to get there down below. I tell you to leave a link, but I don't think you can. But let me know so I can check it out, because I would love to do that, because I basically just spend most of November and December looking at reading journal content because it's fun and I enjoy it. That is going to be it for me today. If you made it this far in the video and you don't have anything to say down below, leave me some kind of a fire or firework emoji in the comments so that I know that you were here and you had a good time. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.